Hello. So here's come the Web3 social. Oh, yeah, because today is the DeFi summit. A lot of people think DeFi don't have lots thing to do with social, and I think it's vice versa. It's very important. And I would like to start from why we're here. We're here for the revolution, right? We're not here for making money. And if you're not here to make money, congrats. We're losing money here these days, right? So DeFi is the revolution for against the Wall Street, right? And we're implementing a full suite of new infrastructure that eventually can act like banks we used to use day by day, right? And then NFT are the revolution against the Hollywood. That's the independent creator and artists. They can just use the new tool to create new things. Then, if this is some kind of like great revolution, start from the Bitcoin. What's the next big challenge we have? I think it's the social network, especially the Web3 social. So this is me. Some buzzword. You can skip that part. Not interesting. The Mass Network team been working in the Web3 social since 2018. It's almost been 5 years from now. And the reason we do that is I think the revolution is going to continue. And then the next challenge we have is actually we don't really have a decentralized, independent public forum for the net citizen. We have our decentralized bank, DeFi, a decentralized cultural product system, NFT, but we don't really have a better social system. And that's the definition of Web3. I think you've all heard from Andreessen of this kind of buzzword. And that's the problem in 2018, actually 2017, when we started this thing, that Blackbird start to, the Cambridge Analytica thing, or big platform use your digital asset. So the path forward, right? As I mentioned, the Bitcoin, Ethereum start the spark of revolution, and then DeFi, NFT is kind of like a part of revolution. Now we union together in the Web3 social. The goal of the Web3 social network is to use the innovative design and technology to counter the centralized and monopolized behavior of two giants, right? And it become a public forum of the netizen. So I will use the example of Netscape Navigator v Windows. So Microsoft Windows was the monopolized platform back in the 90s, and everyone was on Windows. And there was a competitor called Linux, and there's several competitors if you remember. Unfortunately, the customer don't really want to move themselves to other operating system. What happened in real history is really interesting. So Netscape Navigator, they invent a way to build something over top of the existing OS. So it's like an OS within the OS. You don't need to go to another operating system. You just stay on top of Windows and double click to the browser, and boom, you're in the Web 1. So that's what we want to do, and we already deliver most of the product. Check out mass.io later on. So our solution is we are building something on top of the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, whatever you want, like WeChat, all these giant walled garden platform. It's like how you jump yourself from an OS to Web 1. Now you can jump yourself, you can upgrade yourself from the Web 2 to Web 3. And here, these liberal logo and the Web 2 walled garden logos are pretty much like the medieval feudalism. We used to learn from the history book that there's kings, that king, whatever, from different platform. And we, the users, are the digital laborers, and you cannot really move your digital asset away. And fortunately, we got some self-control because DeFi and NFT. Now we can move our NFT away, right? We can move our stablecoin away, but still you can move your digital identity away. And the best way, believe in me, is not to find some new continent. It's not to just say, hey, let's go to find a new Twitter or new Facebook on Ethereum blockchain, spend $5 to post a tweet. The better way is actually to let everyone in the platform to understand that by simply upgrade yourself into Web3, using mass network and our partners' technology, then you can actually use everything from Web3 on Web2. So what that happened, right, and how that works. So this is example post on Facebook and also Twitter, doesn't matter. So this is my friend, he posts a tweet, he posts a post on Facebook or Twitter. It's an encrypted tweet only available for my friends or for the selected recipient, right? And make sure that Facebook, Twitter don't see that. And the next thing you can do is to make sure you can program on top of that post, right? You can say, hey, okay, not only encrypted post, this time I want to send some stable coin embedded in that post. We call it the lucky drop. If you record 2020 Lunar New Year, 20th February, we have a great campaign with the MakerDAO and Vitalik Buterin, and many OGs from the community. They start to randomly drop token on Twitter, and Twitter have no idea what they're doing. Then the mass start to reach out to other ecosystem, right? We can build on top of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We can enable the forums, which has been dead for years. Now there's new forums because there's the new governance forum right now, right? Every token have their own governance forum, so we can enable something on top of that. We can get ourselves into a lot of other great social protocols we have and invested and backed for almost 2 years now. And then you can start to integrate all these together. You can do things that Web2 can never do. For example, I can send Vitalik some ETH on Twitter. And then he can airdrop me back some NFT. And then the on-chain data shows we're friends. Then our friendship relationship, which is the social graph, is actually diluted and abstracted away from the Web2 platforms, which pretty much is the same thing as the feudalism French or other European medieval country become a modernized, modern country with democracy and citizenship, right? That's the next ID, which we've been aggregating and secretly developed for almost a year, and I think we just secretly released the first demo last few weeks ago during the East Shanghai hackathon we've been co-hosting with the Foundation. So the next ID is very simple, but it's very powerful. So how many of you heard of the story that Instagram is going to integrate PFP or Twitter going to integrate PFP, and there's like another 10 big companies are integrating PFP, right? Yeah, great. Okay, so if Twitter and Facebook are integrating PFP functionality, then Suji, me, I have some random PFP like Punk, right? And I use the same PFP to verify myself on Twitter and Facebook. Can I argue that actually they open the gate to each other, right? Because they're connected the identities through the Ethereum, through my NFT. And none of Twitter and Facebook actually realize that they have the access to the other walled garden. But actually, if you're on the DID, you have the access to other walled garden. So that's the interesting part, right? So the next idea is to aggregating all these different DID systems. Right now, there's 10 different DID and 100 plus different Web2 ID systems. We'll try to integrate all of them together. And then you can have the unified ID. It might be something like your Ethereum address or ENS, but if you don't bother by ENS, it can be something else as well. And then what is our approach? Again, as mentioned, there's so many things we've been built internally, and we've been deployed strategic check and help other younger generation founder in Web3 social. So overall, I think I can say this quite frankly, we're the largest investor and largest builder in Web3 social right now. We've granted and deployed strategic checks for over 100 plus Web3 social protocols and different kind of layers. We're the second largest donor and bounty issuers for Gitcoin. The largest one, the largest one is Ethereum Foundation, so we're the second largest one. And then there's so many functionalities we've been built. And I will give you an example that I really like personally. So this is the logo of Cent. So if you all remember, around last year, April, May, Twitter founder Jadasi, he sold his first tweet called just sitting my first tweet. This is his first tweet. He sold his first tweet on the Polygon blockchain as an NFT for the amount is $2.9 million. And Send is a great product, right? And we are proud to be one of the first investor in their first round. And they're building on Mask, they're building on Polygon. And that's a great example of why this is important. So Jack Dorsey don't own that asset, even though he was the CEO and he's the founder of Twitter. And unfortunately, at the moment he sold this NFT to other people, actually he can't claim that he owned this NFT, he owned this tweet, right? And Twitter have no control over that action. So imagine that next time, 1 million people can do whatever they want on Twitter, just selling their tweets and tipping other people and change PFPs and just eventually dilute the whole value of Twitter and Facebook, and then reunion these values together. That's what Mass is doing these days. And we even have this cool thing called initial tweet offering. So there's also last year we launched our own token on Twitter. I think several Twitter guys actually approached to ask me how do we do that, but I mean it's all decentralized, so there's no way to ban us. Yeah, we raised $43 million by the ITO and the later LBP, and people were crazy that you can actually buy some token on Twitter. And you can trade in on Twitter as well. So that's the Uniswap partnership. You can trade in with Uniswap and all the leading DEX on Twitter. So that's all the great friends we have, and I think still many to explore. So that's just a few more examples. I love these put together. So put together is having trouble from SEC. We all support Stand Together with Put Together. So yeah, play lottery on Twitter, please, and that's, no one can stop you, right? And that's the metaverse. So later on, everyone gonna have some metaverse land or metaverse PFP. So you should be able to show that on Twitter, and without whether Twitter like it or don't like it, right? And you can show that on Facebook. So Facebook can not bind you to their own metaverse. You can use whatever metaverse you want, and your friends can walk there, right? And just fight or do whatever they want. So that's our punk from the Mass style. So that's all different functionalities and all different chains we'll be integrating. It's for years, and Mass being around for 5 years. The token is just launched for more than 1 year now. And that's the East Shanghai we've been just announced, and it's finished 2 weeks ago, and we're gonna do that next year. Hopefully we can do that offline. So next year, May, watch out the news, and probably you wanna fly to Shanghai to attend East Shanghai. Yeah, so that's the story of Mass Network. And follow me on Twitter, SujiN, or go ahead and search Real Mass Network. You can follow there and get our latest news. So yeah, that's the Mass Network, yeah.